My name is Robert Haskins. I'm a master handwriting analyst, graphologist, graphotherapist, document examiner, herbalist, and homeopathic practitioner. One of the things that I'd like to do in sharing with you today is that handwriting is brainwriting. When you write, your signature is an expression of your conscious mind. Anything other than your signature is an expression of your subconscious. Now we call this graphotherapy. Graphotherapy coincides with psychotherapy invented in the 1890s by Freud and Jung. They advocated that learned experiences from the inner mind, which is also the subconscious mind, helps to shape childhood experiences that help us to express ourselves as to who we are. When you sit down initially with me, I don't let you talk. I let you write. And upon writing, I can tell what you're dealing with right now, what you've been dealing with for the past 3 to 5 years, what you're dealing with in your childhood that you brought in your adulthood from your childhood. And the most important thing is that God didn't make any junk. Nobody can tell you what to do but yourself. Today, most of my clients, especially in the forensic aspect, I get them after they have committed suicide, or after an untimely death, or after they've been battered up and are in the hospital and fighting for their life. Of the last year and a half, all of the celebrities, as well as the regular people who have committed suicide, and I had the opportunity to sit down with them 3 days before they met their untimely death or committed suicide. I know that I could have helped them. Some people will say, hey, wow, who do you think you are? But I know what happens when I reveal people to themselves from their handwriting. It's from the subconscious mind. Everything from the subconscious mind is good and beautiful and truthful. The subconscious mind doesn't lie. The conscious mind lies. As I said, I've been doing like Amy Winehouse and our dear friend Mr. Cornelius, Don Cornelius had Soul Train, and our other friend Michael Jackson, and I can go on in terms of people who have had untimely deaths, as well as John Travolta's son committed suicide. Now, after what happened to Amy, I said to myself, I have the ability to help people help themselves. And after talking with my brother last week, he encouraged me to take and do something different. So the something different that I'm doing, and that I'm going to be sending out to a few of the publishers and a few of the companies that would be interested in what we're doing, I'm going to share this with them. So this is what I'm going to do. I normally do what we call a personality reintroduction of a person. And I get into their emotional disposition, aspiration level, sensitivity, consistency, extrovert, introvert, homosexual, bisexual, analytical nature, whether they have the ability to maintain mental discipline and keep things down to earth, and whether they show signs of resentment, stored anger, etc. Among 2,458 different personality and character traits. Now, there's been 3 prominent figures that are celebrities. Some have said something that they shouldn't have said. Well, matter of fact, all 3 of them have said things that they shouldn't have said. They've acted out of turn. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an in-depth personality reconstruction. Write it up. on one of three people. I'm going to mention all three of the people's names in the article. And I know upon all three of these people listening to my presentation, I'm hoping that one of the companies will publish it. They will be able to tell if in fact who I'm writing about, if it's them. And the beautiful thing about what we do in terms of graphotherapists, diagnosticians like myself, is that once you start getting into people's subconscious being and they hear about it, then you start connecting. And there's a beautiful thing that happens. Some people call it divine intervention. But when you mention the strokes and the personality and character traits, then the person who is listening can associate and relate. The other two people that would read the article that the personality reintroduction is not about, they would be open and attuned, so much so that they would take and look into it in terms of finding out more about themselves. Now, stress, depression is a mental, physical killer. We all know that. Psychiatrists, doctors, social workers feel as though they can tell when a person is stressed. But they really can't. Here again, you might say, well, who is he? From my 35 years of experience, even I have to check myself, and thank God I can use my own handwriting and put it in a pile and shuffle it up and then go through my processes, which I do to interpret the graphological strokes. We call it graphological indicators. I can do myself. And I also do myself, and I'm on an herbal regimen at the present time. So let's get back to the main person that I'm going to be writing about. He's going through some difficulty, and he should have had a stress depression assessment, what we call a reintroduction to himself a long time ago, in that we start at what people are doing right now, and we go all the way back through for 3 and 4 years. And then we go back into the person's childhood. Inasmuch as God didn't make any junk, nobody can tell you what to do but yourself. And before you can actually tell yourself what to do, in 99% of the cases, you have to be reintroduced to yourself, your memory refreshed. People say, I don't want to be told what to do. I'm not a case for the couch. I said, well, hey, that's right, you're not a case for the couch. When I get into you, I let you know what we call latent personality and character traits that you've had since you were 3 and 4 years old. Same for the third time. God didn't make any junk. Everybody is beautiful and perfect. But he gave us a choice. And so this is what makes the difference as to how we take up the choice. We get to a point where we have ADD, ADHD, bipolar, bacterial meningitis, Tourette syndrome. Now, these intervene in our lives. When they come into our lives, plus initially it starts with the stress and depression, then the stress and depression gets to a point whereby it's very severe. And as long as we can talk to the person early And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this presentation for the authors and for the companies, such that they will allow me to come in and do early detection in stress, depression, and also herbal treatment on people before they commit suicide, before they have the untimely death, or before they do something that's irrefutable. I mean, that causing them a lot of pain. So, I want everyone to realize that we all reach a point where we're having difficulty. In spouse abuse cases, after the first altercation, I believe, and my 35 years of experience has taught me that the person should come in to see us. There's a reason why the stress has gone overboard, so to speak. And we have to find out whether it's into ADD or bipolar or ADHD. And we can tell this. In that we do early detection of ADHD, bipolar, bacterial meningitis, Tourette syndrome within 24 hours. Now, a lot of the other practitioners and psychiatrists, they do it from symptomatology. We don't do it from symptomatology. We do it from your handwriting. And as maybe some of you have heard, handwriting is brain writing. You have no control over it. So, getting back to my point, anytime a person has a promotion, they should have an in-depth assessment. Anytime a person is fired, before they're fired, they should have an in-depth assessment. They should be able to sit down with a person like myself and find out what happened. Because a lot of times, stress, ADD, ADHD can come into a person's life and cause havoc. This is where we put people in the bully category, the victim category. About 3 months ago, we had a victim that killed the bully. Then there was a certain group of people that says, let's train the public to act and defend themselves from the bullies. And I said to myself, God forbid, this is not the way to go. Bullies are not nice people. They're out of balance. You can't interpret what they'll do. If a person has ADHD or bipolar, and it's coupled with rationalizing too quickly and coming to decisions and conclusions that are inadequate and incorrect, a form of self-deceptiveness and secretivity, coupled with resentment, which is stored anger, with the inability to maintain mental discipline and keep things down to earth, then you have a problem. No child or even an adult should want to interfere with the bully. They don't have the knowledge. So this was wrong, and when I stated, you have to get to the bully. Now, I also have the ability to come into schools and look at the signatures, the writing of an individual. And I propose every individual's signature is looked at, and I can find out the bullies, the victims, and they can be treated accordingly before something happens. So, getting back to my point, spouse abuse cases, bullies cases, people that are going to get married. Some people have been married 7 and 8 times. And had they come to us after the first marriage, then we would have been able to set them straight in terms of latent personality and character traits in their subconscious mind. Matter of fact, I'd like to highlight a point right now in terms of people needing some input. And it's not people. I don't want you to feel as though I don't want people to tell me how to live my life or what to do. But after you went through 4 marriages, 2 marriages, and you're getting ready to go to the 3rd, you're not ready without our treatment. And it's nitty-gritty, as we call, show enough help that once we reintroduce you to yourself and you can understand what's happening, then you will be prepared to make it with anybody. Or you might decide once you are reintroduced to yourself that, hey, look, I don't want to get married now. Oprah had about 8 high authority people, women that were very successful at everything but marriage. And I wanted so much to let them know, and maybe some of them will see this video, that I could let them know exactly why they are not married today. Now, there's 2 inputs in all the cases that I mentioned. There's inputs by divine intervention, in that, as I said, and I'm saying for the 4th time, God didn't make any junk. Nobody is stupid. But when they make bad choices, then they need to be stopped. Upon letting the ladies know what they're doing right now, what they've been doing for the past 3 to 5 years, what they've done in their childhood, how they're relating on a father-daughter level, mother-daughter level, boy-girl, man-woman, with their sexuality, with their people-people relationships, which consist of their brothers or sisters or co-workers and their peers, then they would be able to see and understand who they are. It's almost like taking off 2 or 3 pair of designer sunglasses. And you know what happens when you're wearing sunglasses and you come in from a sunny day. And even after you take them off, it's still kind of hard to see. So what I'm doing, getting back to my point, is doing a personality assessment, writing it up and offering it to one of the magazines, such that upon them publishing it, I'll have a chance to help all the 3 victims and other people who are going through domestic situations of all types will be able to see it in print, be able to read it, and there will be some things that everybody will be able to relate to in terms of what's being said. And as I said, thank God that the main person who I did the personality reintroduction for will be able to tell that it's him. Also, dear friends of the person will be able to tell that it's him. I'm open at any time to help people help themselves. This is what I would like to do. So take it to heart. Leave some comments when you listen to this article, and establish any type of rebuttal you want to establish, and ask any questions that you want. Because our bottom line, folks, is helping you help yourself. Our bottom line is letting people know early that they have ADHD or bipolar or bacterial meningitis symptoms, okay? In that we have the ability, and with God's blessings, we can help everyone help themselves. God bless.